Okay, I'd like to call to order this October 10th, 2019 High Springs Community Redevelopment Agency meeting. If we would take a moment to remember people who are struggling with mental illness at the invocation, and then do the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Jenny, can you do roll call, please?
Mayor Latin.
Here.
Here.
Member Jameson.
Here.
Member Jones.
Yes, here.
Member Williams is absent.
Okay. We need to make some amendment to the agenda. Is that correct, Christina?
Yeah, we need to remove the residential paint-only grant.
Item 1D.
Yeah.
Okay. Can I have approval of the agenda with the amendment?
I will make a motion that the agenda be approved with the necessary amendment.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No opposed, so it carries. Approval of our minutes from September 12, 2019.
Okay. Oh, go ahead.
You're good.
We had a couple of corrections to make, and knowing that those corrections have been done, I will make a motion that the minutes be approved accordingly.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No. It carries. Okay, item 1, consideration of the following commercial facade grant and residential paint, and we're not doing residential paint. Number A, Talented Cookies, and I'll turn it over to Christina.
Okay, this is a request for approval of an award to remove old paint and for priming and painting. The applicant has chosen the lowest quote of $7,500 with the 100% match requirement. The award amount requested is for $3,750. Staff recommends approval of the application for a total of $3,750, subject to reimbursement upon completion with a 100% match requirement. Application meets the facade grant criteria outlined in the revised commercial facade grant application.
Did we get a copy of the lowest quote? I didn't see it.
I have the quotes, but one of the pages is blank in mine. The
done right.
The
yeah.
done right one has nothing on it.
It is blank.
But you have the 7,500?
No, I don't have one
okay.
for
It's
70.
probably because it's light, yeah, that might be,
Is that the one that we should have?
yeah.
Oh, okay.
It just didn't print.
Yeah, because it's real light.
Okay.
Oh,
And that was 7,500 on that quote.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we only got one.
No, there's two. Yeah, the other one was like 9,000, I think.
9,200.
Yeah.
Yeah.
9250 for the other one, and there was one for 8,400.
Okay, I'm with you. Oh, I see.
Did you guys want to say something? You don't have to, but since you're here, you're welcome to. Okay, they just came, they are the owners, so they came in case we wanted to talk to them.
I'm good with it.
Looks like
You want a
everything is
motion?
in order.
I move that we approve the requested amount for the Talented Cookie to be painted.
I second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Shoot. Certainly. We enjoy it, believe you me. I do anyway.
I do have one question. Is there any criteria on the color since it is in the store?
Orange or blue?
I didn't know if it was like a grid that we had to follow as far as, not that I'm doing anything crazy, but.
Well, there is something, isn't it, downtown?
There's the answer right there.
Okay.
No, you heard him, orange and blue.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
So the next one on the list is for clubhouse athletics.
Hold on just a second, will you? Joking aside, I mean, they can't go out there and paint the thing pink, right? I mean, there has to be within the CRA district, don't we have to?
It's not the CRA district, I think it's the
Historic district.
I apologize. Okay. Well, same
Well, it
thing, they
is in
have,
the CRA district.
but they have criteria too, right? I mean, I'm just
I
asking.
don't think on paint.
No? Okay, I'm just saying, if you got these rustic homes, all of a sudden, then you have something painted pink.
Most communities will do like, they, just to play it safe, will say like no neon or fluorescent colors. But, it's kind of, I mean, you can do an overlay with paint and color requirements, but we don't have anything like that.
Okay, I mean, okay.
They said they weren't going to do anything crazy, so.
Okay, I mean, I just, when you did it, I mean, I'm just saying, if I was in that historic and all of a sudden something came in,
Yes.
orange and blue.
If it comes out orange.
Orange,
We're gonna hold you to it,
you can
Scott.
thank me, Bill.
You want to think you're serious, right?
Okay, thank you, I just wanted to clarify, appreciate it.
Okay.
Okay, so Clubhouse Athletics, this grant is a request for approval of an award to install hardy plank on the facade of Clubhouse Athletics building and repaint, repair the awning. The lowest quote submitted by the applicant was for $1,770. With the 100% match requirement, the award amount requested is for $885.
Okay. I move that we approve the application for $885 for the clubhouse.
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next one is Law Office of Maurice McDaniel.
Okay, and this is the one that came in on an emergency basis last year. This is the awning. That was for the facade wall repair. This is the awning that went along with that. So just in general, it's a request for approval of an awning that occurred as part of the emergency facade repair. It's the lowest estimate is $2,400, which is an award amount of $1,200 due to the 100% match requirement. Staff recommends approval of the application for a total award amount of $1,200, subject to reimbursement and completion with the 100% match requirement. It meets the criterion established within the updated commercial facade grant requirements.
Any questions?
So this is just for the, putting the awning back after the repairs were made?
Yeah, and he put a whole new, it's like a green color, I don't know if you've all seen it, it covers all the units, and it's like a metal instead of a canvas, and that's what this is for, yeah.
Okay.
That's it? Okay. In that case, I will make a motion that the application be approved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. So then we will move on to consideration of the renewal of the High Springs Police Department interlocal agreement.
Yeah, this is the standard contract we have each year. A little bit different this year is that some of the events have changed. We're not doing as many First Fridays, but it's the standard contract. It's the same thing basically that we saw last year for services for special events.
And this falls within what we have budgeted for administrative, correct?
Yeah.
Is this an administrative cost?
It is,
Okay.
yeah.
And the attorneys have looked at it?
Yeah, they did call about, and I know this is an item for you all, for the commission, but anyway, they were just wondering, if it's a maximum amount and that sort of thing. They just had some general questions, but otherwise, yeah, I think the major thing was they were wondering if this is an annual, and this is an annual contract that we see, the same thing, so.
There's only one question I had. Item 10, it said, HSPD shall be responsible for the compensation of officers and employees' business benefits, as well as an injury to officer, their property, or the city's property. Is the police department responsible for the city's property, I guess, if anything goes wrong? item 10.
They're within, Madam Chair, they're within the umbrella of the city and the venue of the city, so therefore,
It would make a difference.
it wouldn't make any difference. It's not a contract, like, for instance, when we go to the University of Florida, and
Okay.
we have a mutual aid with them, and something happened to one of the officers or off-duty detail, where they're responsible for insurance and so forth. If we allow that outside the city limits, but it's within the city limits.
I was just concerned about the city's property, but if it's all inclusive, then it's not an issue. I move that we approve the contract with HSPD with CRA.
Let me ask another question on that one there, Ms. Gets there. This is just curiosity. If you stay within that same number 10, explain to me, and maybe I'm just being dense here, as well as any injury to an officer, their property or the city's property. Well, if you just told me that everything is underneath the umbrella of the city, why do we have their property listed? Why is that a separate deal? Because the CRA is ours. I mean, I'm just trying to, maybe I'm parsing it. Maybe I'm parsing, but it just seems like, why are we designating their property? What if the officer gets hurt on their property?
I think when they're saying their property, I'm thinking more along the lines of equipment. For instance, if I use something
Okay, not,
other than assigned to me, that's
okay.
what I'm thinking is property. Whether maybe it should have been equipment.
I'm just, there again, we're not going to go after each other, so don't get me wrong. But that just seemed like we were making a delineation there, the separate type of deal.
Sometimes in the industry standard, officers award something, and then I broke my $5,000 watch, and I want to get reimbursed for it. Didn't award in the first place, but things like that.
No, I just
That's
want to
an
make sure
idea.
we're on the same page when it comes back, if there's a claim that we're not parsing the property. You follow what I'm saying? That's all. I mean, I don't think we're going to, obviously, but that's just my, so I'm good.
I was looking at Scott's Gator watch while he was talking about their property and thinking if something happened to that, it might be.
Priceless. See, you put a price on yours, priceless. Okay. I mean, I'll make a motion to pass the renewal.
Okay,
Second.
okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. All right, then we go on to discussion items, and I'll turn it over to Christina.
Yeah, just generally, before we get into like phase 2, so we had a conference call, Mr. DeCourcy, Bill, and I with MLH last week, just to kind of go over some of the things that you all were expressed as concerns. And so the good thing is so we're all on the same page, talking about the design, the conceptual aspect of it at this time. And so the overall consensus of the conversation was that we would examine like a conceptual approval from FDOT for some of these things we're looking to do, that we can do, without the CSX thing, being part of it at this point. So that was kind of like the summary of that. And so, with that, we're starting to look at, some of these other angles we could pursue, in the meantime, while we're exploring those conceptual approvals, like for example, phase 2, including the improvements down Main, increasing ADA accessibility, lighting, landscaping, some of the things that we've talked about. Also want to mention Kelly Barber has reached out to the library district. They're looking at some things maybe of doing, between the Priest Theater and the alley. And so there could be a possibility to integrate that into the phase 2 as well. So there's just some community interest, and, we're kind of exploring that at this time. And it might not be a bad thing to kind of, engage as we're looking at these FDOT approvals, because next year, this grant cycle that occurs from FDOT with all this funding, I think several $1 million, like hundreds of millions of dollars, it'd be good to have something in place. That way, when that grant cycle opens next year, like right now it's open, their deadline I think is at the end of this month, but if we had something together for next year, anticipating that, I think we'd be in a very good position. just because a lot of these things are safety and accessibility oriented and all that, and would definitely supplement the budget very nicely. And so that was just kind of like the recap from that meeting and looking at, how can we approach it forward? Because it would be a good thing, as far as coordinating, even though they're separate things, because we're starting to look at FDOT and some of these, right-of-way approvals and that, it might not be a bad thing to begin to pursue.
So the handicap accessibility and the crosswalks there on Main, you're thinking that we might be able to get like DOT grant money to offset some of those costs?
Yeah, definitely, anything, and then, MLH was even talking too about making that a one-way loop around Railroad there. That would definitely, increase the safety aspect, especially for folks coming out, right there past the bicycle shop. So things like that, yeah, the lighting, anything that, traffic calming is going to be very favorable, So, any number of these things would, it's going to be pricey, especially a speed table and a crosswalk. I mean, that's going to be, a very pricey item. But we want to package it all together because they want to look at bigger projects. They don't want to see, tiny, smaller projects. They want to see something over 300,000. So that's why it would be good to have something for next year when this cycle opens again, so that we are a contender for that, because it's there's a lot of funds there for that sort of thing.
Great.
Okay, do we need to?
It's just a discussion item, yeah.
Okay.
Just something, to think about, if the overall interest is, to bring that next step forward. I had that outlined at the last meeting. Those are the steps that they're looking at. We could, at least do a conceptual with them and get some of those things kind of underway. And then that way we have, a stronger package. That way, as these other pieces come in, we've got something that's already, because, it takes several months, to get these things going. So just something to think about. I just don't want us to come to June and be like, oh no,
Right.
and then.
Is there any way to get a ballpark figure on what those conceptuals would cost, from either MLH or CHW was the other one?
So we have the ones from MLH, but CHW, so I brought that outline with me again. I don't think there were numbers on that. That was just steps and sequencing, but I can certainly reach out to them and get, usually they say it's about a 10% cost of a design product, for design services. So, if we're looking at a $300,000 project or more, probably at least $30,000 in design services. But, we can get there incrementally. We don't have to do that all at once, of course, but that's kind of standard. Usually 7 to 10%, I think, is like the estimate of design services on a project. So I'll reach out to them and see if we can kind of get a stronger cost concept for those.
Okay, and then the next item, the Douglas Neighborhood Community Meeting.
Yeah, so Mr. DeCourcy, Bill, Antoine, and myself, we all met with the neighborhood meeting last week, and they had a nice discussion about a lot of things, and they're still kind of looking at, getting back together, and, overall consensus was just still to kind of, consider all the options at this time. But we did look at, the properties that were available and talk about some of the things that could occur. And so just kind of wanted to give a summary of that. So, there was some momentum and some movement in that as well. And
Okay.
we did discuss some about an expansion, but they haven't come back to us yet. That's, but there was interest there. And so we kind of talked about that as well.
I got a question, please. We cleaned the lots, correct? The lots have been cleaned?
Yes, sir, I think they've grown back up now.
Just about to
Well, I
say
was going to say, so we have a process for us to do that because there are lots.
Pull this out of the old memory.
Don't pull too much, sir. Never mind.
Okay, thank you. Madam, we did clear lots. Some of the lots that were in question at the meeting the other night, 2 of those lots are sinkhole. They have no value to them. And one of the lots is a very small lot, little shotgun lot, and it's right next to the park over there. 2 lots from the park. So, limited use. Didn't have much interest in anybody purchasing that lot. I don't think anybody purchased a sinkhole.
The
Well-
lot on Douglas that goes up to the stop sign, that's a sinkhole
It's
lot?
right around the corner. That sinkhole right there, yeah, that's the one. Yeah. Actually, those are 2 lots in there.
There's 2.
Yeah.
Set aside the fact that we advertise the lots to, if they wanted them. My question is we have to continue to maintain those. So do we have something in place to continue? We can't have them grow back up. It defeats the purpose. There are lots. We need to have a regular maintenance on those so they
And-
stay mowed and clean.
We'll look at that in the public works side. There's only 1 lot that I would maintain. I don't really want to send crews down into that sinkhole to try to clean that up. I think that's a danger to the crews, and it's a sinkhole. I mean, we don't really want to do anything with that. But we do have 1 lot that we'll maintain.
Okay, and I get it. I'm just saying that was one of the things we told the community that we were going to do. So I just want to make to the best of our ability that we continue to do what we're supposed to do. That's all.
And we did, and I don't remember, I look at Angela, how many lots were sold?
2.
2, yeah.
2 would
Okay.
be-
2 of them were sold, yeah.
Okay, and that's good. I just want to make sure they don't come back and then they're coming back going.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. She put an item on here for anyone on this board, if you had anything you wanted to discuss or talk about CRA board. Any of the board members have any questions or concerns? Okay. Executive director, nothing? Okay. Director?
Yeah, the only thing, so this past week, Michael Loveday and I, we attended the Tourism Development Council grant meeting for all the grant award winners. And so that was like probably the newest thing. Originally, we were going to have the commission meeting, or the Board of County Commissioners meeting, but that item got pushed to the 22nd. So that will be on the 22nd.
Okay. Will you be back in town then?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, that was for the consent agenda renewal?
Yeah.
And as far as you know, it's still on the consent agenda? Okay. All right. Any public comments for the CRA board? Okay, I'll take a motion to
I'll
adjourn.
make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, meeting adjourned. Thank you. All that can go into the bin. I'm saving the blue papers for them because I'm going to give them back.
I don't see it.